Hi there, it's Mare. This is the second video in the 52 card challenge. I have a playlist started on my channel here, and today we're going to be working with playing cards. Each week I'll be altering some form of card: postcard, playing card, flashcard. The first week was the dresses, and if you want to take a look at that, you can just look back at my videos and find that video. So today we're altering playing cards. Many people alter playing cards. I'm sure we're going to be touching on different techniques throughout the year, because we'll be back to revisit the playing cards again, I am sure. So first off, just grab yourself some playing cards, some stencils, some acrylic paints, and let's see, what else you're going to need? Some wipes and some gesso, Mod Podge, glue. So these are fairly, they're vintage, but they're fairly new, where they have that sheen on them. So first you want to get rid of that sheen. So I'm just going to take the shiny side and just rough it up. We're going to make sure we get a little tooth on there, something to have our products grab onto. And we're going to be gluing down some background. The other side is this doll, but I have many different ones, but I'll show you just what my process. I grabbed scraps. We're going to be doing a tissue paper one a different week, but just grab some scraps that you have and just glue them down whichever way you want. We're just going to be doing a little collage. You want to wipe off any of that excess film that you might have on there from the sandpaper. There we go. As you can tell, I've done this video a few times. Just having a few little internet issues. So I just use my little finger tool, have some wipes handy, and I'm just gonna layer. This is some book page, some French script that I like. You can do it this way, vertically, horizontal, whichever way you like. And I just look for different like handwriting, and book page, music page is really good as well. And just get down a background. Once that dries, you can trim that up. I'm going to set that aside. This one is pretty well dried. And you're just going to trim out the edges. Now, if it's brittle enough, you can either sandpaper or just tear the edges. I don't like things perfect, and I'm going to be roughing up that anyway. Like when I do my pages, and my journal pages too, I do like the rougher edges. If I can find my little tool that I use, this one, yeah, I did find it. This one, you know, it works good. And I really like to do that. And when I collage on a lot of my pages, I will go through and just, because I don't glue all the way to the edge, and just kind of tear it up. I like how that looks. This one is an old card. I like the torn. If you don't have this tool, these are just the little Tonic Studios. I love them, and I try to keep them clean as much as I can, and hope I have like basic scissors to use when I'm doing, you know, going over glue. But you can go, like, these are really good for this. It has that little bit of a tooth on the inside, but I don't open up my scissors to do it. I just go like that, and it works well. So because I'm going to be doing some color on it, oh, I do have some clear gesso right there. That's right. This is just clear gesso. Go over it, and I like to get the edges, because if I'm going to use a Stabilo, which is this, for those of you who don't know, to do like the edges, well, there we go. if I use this, you're going to want some kind of base on there. Mod Podge. I use regular glue, honestly, like you saw me use Fabri-Tac, but you can use art glitter glue or whatever, or Mod Podge if you have it. It's up to you, but you're going to want that on there. And I'll show you if I have my little sheets just quickly. So this is nothing. This has nothing on it, just a plain piece of paper. There's Mod Podge. It has a little bit of a shine to it. I think that's all the Mod Podge I had left was a gloss one. And this one is clear gesso. And some of you may already know this, and that's fine, but I've seen people use it on regular paper because they want to outline something with their Stabilo. So let's say there's a picture in there and they want to outline it. And then you take your tool, my little finger tool here. You can use just a little wet sponge, and I just get it just slightly damp. And you see how it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, it's okay, but the lines aren't really going anywhere. And that's fine if that's the way, you know, somebody wants to do it. But just to show you the difference, the same thing. This is the clear gesso, and it's the same for pastels and stuff. And we'll get into those sometimes. Do you see how well that moves? Do you see the smudge I'm getting? And I'm not putting any more pencil down. Do you see? It's just going to flow a lot better. And this is the Mod Podge. So we're going to go like this, right? Get it slightly damp, not drenched. Do you see how nice that moves? So really the Mod Podge works really super well, and the gesso. So it's going to work the same if you have white gesso. And it, you know, compared to that, okay. Anyway, just a little tip there. All right, so here let's add a little bit of color. So I have a lot of acrylic paints here. I've got some golden opens. I use golden opens when I play around with my jelly plate. It does give a nice, vivid, deep color. I don't use a lot of color, but for playing with my jelly plates, I do like these. This one is an iridescent bronze, a titanium white. It's just what I had. I grabbed out of my case, and some burnt umber, which is going to be some browns. So if we're going to do grungy, 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 or let me see, I do. Okay, here's one that I was going to do for a fairy one. It's got a tree. So let's do leaves. I have this green. I don't even think I've used it, but it's just stress paint. So probably should open up the top, huh? That would be smarter. Okay, just a little bit on the mat here. Get a piece of a sponge here and put my just going to do a little stenciling on the card to give it another layer. And I like things halfway off, coming off the card. And like this. Okay, I think that's good. See how pretty that looks? I like it. So I'm going to stick that in the water bath. Try to keep my surfaces nice. Before I end for the day, I will clean up my surface better. But I thought that looks really, really good. But we will play with that once that dries, if we have time. But I'll show you something I am putting together now. These are just deli sheets. It helps with the glare too. So this one is ballerinas on this side. Let me see, one that I have partway done. I didn't add color to this one. Well, I can't say that I didn't. So that is stabiloed along the edges. And basically, it's all just like what, what I showed you, was going around the edges and smudging it. But I also added some of this shimmer mist, and I do have a video on how to make your own. And I just sprayed it on there. I had some white gesso, and then I used my stamp. I really like this one. It's Studio 490 Stampers Anonymous, and it's a font script. So if we were just going to add some of that, I use Memento ink for this. It's not going to move with different products. And just some little extra. And you can do the gesso first or do the stamping first. But I think that looks good too. Okay, let me get this one. We'll put this one in the forefront. So that's what I did. I just added a little bit of gesso. I use all kinds of different gesso. Doesn't matter which one. To me, I do like this one, and I'm getting a little bit, well, I guess I'm not that low on it. I use this every time I create, usually. So I don't want to be all over the place, but I have to keep my videos down to a certain time, or they don't want to load, or it takes forever for them to load. So basically I have some gesso a little off here, and I just go around the edges. Or if I want more coverage, I usually just use my palette knife, which I love this shape. I like it the best out of all the palette knives that I have and use. And just go over it. Usually I do like a little corner or like a V shape. If I want more coverage, like that. Make it smoky. Takes out some of those unwanted things. Some of the background if it's too harsh. And then you can go over with sandpaper. Oh, my edges a little roughed. You can go over with sandpaper if you like. Rip some off. However you want to rough it up if you're doing grungy. So I'm going to let that dry. And that one is still drying. And I'll use this and finish it and put it in my community tab and show you. And then this one's already dry, so it has all the different layers in it. I did not put a stencil. I just used my mica spray. And then I chose this image. And it's one of my favorite images. I've used it for a journal before. I added a little bit of just some of that black ink around the edges. I also put a little bit of gesso on there as well, and some glossy accents to highlight the flowers in her hair. So I am going to use my Fabri-Tac and put a piece of lace down first. And really this is just about letting some of the background show through. It's not going to be a full out showing. I like to just tear and rip up the lace a little bit so it's just not as flat and it's not as, it's not perfect. I'm going to do this on a little bit of an angle. And then once it's down, just bend it up a little bit, like so. And then add my picture. Now with any kind of focal points, you can use objects. Like I have these little die cuts, there's mushrooms. I just didn't know what I was going to be in the mood for. I'm going to make a few different ones. There's a heart one, which I thought would be really cute since Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm just going to put that down like so. Get it where I want it. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered for my liking. In fact, I prefer it not to be perfectly centered. It's so freeing when you don't have to have things perfect, because I rarely ever get it right the first time, so I just kind of wing it. So for these, I'm going to use a little bit better of a glue. I mean, all those are really great glues, but I'll show you my little secret. This is such good glue. It will keep down everything. Now, I think I've showed you my yellow Tight Bond. In fact, I know I have. And this is really good. It does not dry clear, but it's very good for holding tough things down. But I use this one. Now it's gone up in price. It used to be only $9 for 14 ounces. Now it's up higher, but if you can find it, it's really good. It does not have a smell, and it bonds everything. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to my flowers. I dust these gently, these paper flowers that I get, with a little bit of gesso on them. I love the kind of like the plaster look. Now this is a clay bead, so it's even more important. I will check this. It takes a little bit longer to dry this glue. I will check it, and if it really doesn't hold down something that I want it to, like a clay bead, I will go to my E6000 and use that. Now this, I think I want, I think I'm just gonna bend it like so. Yep. So I've gotten this weld bond off of Amazon. You can find it at a Home Depot. I have to order mine if I get it from Home Depot, because they don't carry it in my store. I'm kind of out in a rural area, so it takes me a long time to get where I need to go. And they don't have everything. So anyway, I'm going to let that sit, let that dry, probably secure a few more things down. And then I'll probably either put a hole in here or add some kind of metal. You know, I like to add metal to a lot of my things along with the more feminine pieces, but I think that turned out really nice. And I will show you. So this one, it's the ballerina one. Let me see. Nope, this one. I will do lots of gesso on it. Oh, there we go. And then I'm going to put this winter fairy on there. And let's see what other one we can do real quick. You know what? Let's do that. I had some product down on this one, but I wanted to use it. So I'm still going to, it has a little bit of that blue for my winter fairy. So I'm gonna really cover that with gesso. What other one can we do? Then there's this one here. I have the pieces. I had the pieces. Here it is. So let's decorate this one real quick. Oh, did I shift the camera? Sorry about that, guys. There we go. There we go. little bit of gesso on that. And I have this antique lace that I wanted to use. So this one's definitely going to be for my dressmaker. My dressmaker journal that I'm creating. And I'm going to add this little die cut. Now this was on one of those really thick boards. You know, Tim Holtz had the pieces that were really thick. All you have to do is just peel off a layer, because that's what I did. Just peeled off a little bit of a layer so it wasn't so thick. And then I was playing around with little scraps. So I'm going to add that to the bottom. Whoop. Oh, that's okay. I like gesso on everything anyway. Let's move that. There we go. Just a little fun play today. Using up our scraps, using up what we have. You know, if you have words and different things, I think that would be really good to add some prompts. This one it says court dress on it. Oh, I'm at 20 minutes, so I think I am going to stop it after this. And that looks good. So I'll show you again all the finished products, all the finished pieces that I am working on, and I complete them and just put charms in them, and I use up metal and different things like that. It'll be on the community tab in on my channel. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're inspired, and I would love to see what you create. You can email me. It's in the description box. Thanks. Bye.